Hey guys, so in this video, we'll talk about the business principles that is very much needed before you start any business. So, before starting any business, you do not need to know everything. You do not need to go to Harvard or Stanford or any other business schools. You do not need to spend money, unlimited money on MBA or learning things. You do not need to read hundreds of books to start a business. You just need to know a few things, just enough things before you start your business so that you do not get failure so easily. Failure is not bad, but you should not be making minor mistakes. You should not be making the mistakes that are very usual. Okay, so these are the principles. So I'll be discussing 20 principles with 20 videos. So this is the first principle that we'll be talking about, and the first principle is solve a problem, do not sell a product. The thing is, people do not buy a product. Okay, people do not buy a product, they buy a solution. Okay, so for example, they people do not buy a drill, they buy a hole in their wall. Okay, so they actually ultimately want a solution to their problem. They want a hole in their wall. They do not need to buy a drill, but to do a hole in the wall, they need to buy. So ultimately, they buy the solution. And if that time you are selling your product and you are solving that problem and giving the solution, then they will buy the product. Then people will buy the product. Okay. So solve a problem, give solutions, because people do not buy a product or service, they buy actually a solution to the problem they are facing. Let's say, another example is somebody, you might be selling Meta art services or Google ad services or Amazon ad services or SEO, or paid services, paid ad services, or anything, or maybe AI related services. Then do not need those services. But what they actually want with your Meta ad services is they want their business to be have more profits, more revenue, or more sales, and they want less stress in their business, and they want the overall business growth. So they do not need, in that scenario, the Meta ads or Google ads or anything, but they what they actually need is to improve the revenue of their business, to improve the sales of their business, and to reduce the cost, and so that they can get more profits and they can ultimately get the business growth, and they need to have less stress while managing them. Okay, that's the reason that you are providing the services. Okay, so before providing or pitching anyone your product or services, just remember that you are not selling any product or services, you are giving solutions to a problem, and people are buying the solutions. Okay, so ultimately they are buying the solutions. They want less stress in their business, they want more profits, they want more revenue, they want the business to grow every year. Okay, so that is the reason you should always look in terms of what the people actually want, what they need, what could be the solution of their problem. It's not you if you just sell random products or random services, you will not be succeeded in your business. So the thing is, you need to actually see in the market what is working, which solutions are working. Then you come up with a better solution. Then you pitch that to your potential customers. That way you'll be having more customers, and your product and your services will sell more if you can do the marketing. Okay, so that is the first principle, and that is solve a problem, do not sell a product. Okay, because and while starting a business, always ask firstly before doing anything, before even registering your company, you should ask what problem I am solving, how big is the problem. If the problem is very small for few people, then you cannot sell more products or cannot sell more services. But if the problem is big and you can make more products and you can sell to millions of customers, you can sell to millions of people who actually need those product or services, then you will be successful. Okay, so first thing is you should analyze that what problem you are solving. You are not merely selling a product or service, you are actually solving a real solution to the pain of the customers. Okay, pain or need of the customers. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe if you are not subscribed, and write a comment if you have any questions, and I'll be coming up with the next solution, next principle of starting before starting the business. So if you are interested in starting a business, small business or anything, then please follow my videos, my channels, because I'll be uploading more like this in the future. Thank you for watching. Bye.